Hi guys, this is Binod Shankar here, the Real Finance Mentor. And this is part of the Real Talk YouTube series where I invite someone I know, a CFA candidate or charter holder, to talk about the three things that he or she found out after they joined the workplace that they wish they had known before they joined the workplace. Today I have Karan Gandhi, who is a CFA charter holder. Karan works at a family office. Before that, he worked in credit analysis in a commercial bank. And prior to that, he worked as an equity research analyst. So he's been through a gamut of roles. Over to you, Karan. Please share what you think are the three tips that you learned.
Thanks, Vinod. Thanks for having me. So, three things which I would want to share with everyone who's watching this. I all faced it by myself, and this is why I'm talking about this. The first thing is very important is to find your niche. So, what I mean by that is, for instance, when you are writing your exams or when you're attempting for your last level or whatever, you kind of know which topics you are good at because you're doing some practice exams or you're already written to a few levels. You already have an history of your results, and you know that there are some topics that you're good at and there are some which you're not good at. And it is good to nail those topics down in the initial days so that you can focus on that topics, read about them, and learn more about that specifically in what's happening in this region. So, if you do that, what will add to this whole equation is that when you go to an interview, you're much more focused, you're much more inclined, and you have a good drive for that topic of interest, which also is visible when an interview is kind of going through that entire, rounds of interviews with you. So I always believe in this, and I've seen this work for me as well. So when I was doing my CFA levels, I had a strong drive for alternative investments, and I used to read a lot about that space, what's happening in UAE, what's happening in the region, and what's the new thing which is going to probably be the next alternative investment or a new thing in the market. And when I actually interviewed for a few companies here in Dubai, the interviews actually saw this, and one of the family office gave me an opportunity to work in the venture capital division, and that's how I broke into private equity and VC. As Binod mentioned, I started off in equity research, moved into banking. So working on your niche, focusing and reading about it will help you break it into that sector. That's my thought on finding your niche. Second thing is you have to upskill in your niche. Now, what I mean by that is you've kind of understood on what you want to do, on which roles you want to focus on. But just reading about it won't just cut it for you. You also need to learn more skills which are relevant to that sector as well. For instance, employers here in the UAE are really focused on finding individuals who have financial modeling and data presentation skills. Now, this is something that I faced myself as well. When I was in banking, I wanted to move into a different investment space. I had to kind of juggle with a lot of employers, and where every time I used to clear the first round, the second round would be focused on doing a case study and preparing a model and presenting that model to the management the next day or the next week. And the biggest challenge over there is that I always thought that financial modeling, it's easy, you can do it, it's an Excel thing. You learn bunch of formulas, learn bunch of templates, and you can kind of go by it. But the reality is that, say for example, when you find your niche in the initial side of things, say you are into real estate, then financial modeling for real estate is something else. Financial modeling for equities is something else. So you have to start upskilling your skill set in the niche you are at, and start doing by learning online classes. Start by building some sample models and keeping it handy when you go for an interview. Maybe you will be asked about it. And you can also look at data presentation as well. It's becoming a common thing now of building different dashboards. You can look at new skills like Power BI and using tools like Power BI and Tableau and learn these things. These are kind of very relevant in the market, and people and employers do prefer candidates to have that skill. The third thing I wanted to talk about is more towards the entire career path, and what about finance? I think finance is a patience game. I've kind of seen it everywhere. There are a lot of people I meet regularly that have high expectations of getting a big break in their career when they pass the CFA qualification. Well, it might be true for some, but it's not the case for many. And the biggest problem with that is that having high expectations doesn't relate to getting the right job as well. So, for instance, when you start out your career and when you get your the first analyst role or a junior analyst role, you're always expecting that, okay, I'm writing my level 2 or I'm attempting my level 3, I will pass this, I will become a senior associate, and I'm just going to go ahead in my career path. But that's not the case, because employers just don't only rely on your qualification. Again, it's also the upskilling thing. It's also that you have to have great soft skills. You have to meet deadlines, complete your work, make sure that you are a team player, a lot of things, of course, which is part of a corporate culture. And of course, once you kind of meet all these checkpoints, your work will be noticed, and eventually you will get to the stage you want to be at. And I did this mistake. This is why I can say it with lot of thought process here, because I started my career in kind of as an analyst in equities. Then I thought, okay, this is I'm not getting any career progression here. Let me just jump to banking, and I did that for 2-3 years, and then I was like, oh, I'm just not getting any chances here. Let me jump somewhere else. But with finance, what you have to understand is that if you've found your niche, just stick to it, because career progression takes time. And I actually want to conclude this whole 3 points with my thought process is that if you find your niche, if you upskill in your niche, and if you wait and kind of dominate and go ahead in that same pathway, you will find the best role possible, and you will be at the stage today or tomorrow. So this is what I have my thoughts on. So.
Great. I mean, so to summarize, find your niche, upskill in your niche, and be patient about your career. I think there's a clear flow, there's a clear structure in what you said, right? Starting from finding the niche till being patient about your career, right? Thank you so much, Karan, for the tips. And of course, I wish you the very best in your career. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Vinod. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you found it insightful and inspirational. If you did enjoy this episode, please drop us a review and spread the word. And be sure to check out more exclusive content on therealfinancementor.com and my LinkedIn profile, which is Binod Shankar CFA. Let's keep in touch. Just add your name to the mailing list on therealfinancementor.com, and we'll tell you about new episodes, plus book reviews, upcoming events, and blogs. Till the next time, onwards and upwards.